Hello and welcome to NB Drives. My name is Nishmanya and today I'm going to be walking you through 10 upcoming SUVs that are set to launch in India over the course of 2024. Now, this list is going to consist of models that are generally accepted to be SUVs in our market. That includes everything from crossovers to proper off-roaders. And it's also going to be a subjective list because these are the cars that I am looking forward to seeing this year. I'm gonna tell you all the cars that are launching in order of whichever is coming first to last in terms of the knowledge we have about their launch schedules. And there are also going to be a few honorable mentions at the end. So let's get into this list. Let's begin with the Hyundai Creta facelift, which is the only model on this entire list that has a set launch date and it's not too far away. It's next Tuesday, January the 16th. Now, Hyundai has already released the official images of the SUV and we know what's going to be changing on the model. From the images, you can see that the front end and rear end have been restyled quite a bit. The front now looks like an amalgamation of the Venue facelift and the Tucson, while the rear looks like a larger Venue, getting rid of the old C-shaped headlights. And there are also new alloy wheels on offer. On the interior, there are a few changes, but the most notable one is the updated dashboard design, which now has dual 10.25-inch screens running throughout the driver and center portion of the dash. The central screen is for the infotainment system, and the one in front of the driver is the digital instrument cluster, which seems fairly customizable and picked straight from the Alcazar. Now, another big addition to the new Creta is going to be the level 2 ADAS or Advanced Drivers Assistance Systems safety features, which will include things like 360-degree cameras, blind spot monitor, lane keep assist, and other features such as that, which is going to be a big plus to its appeal in the Indian market. Now, in terms of the engines on offer, there's not a whole lot that's going to change. The 115 horsepower 1.5 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine and the 115 horsepower 1.5 liter turbo diesel are pretty much unchanged, carried over from the old model. The only change that has occurred is the 140 HP 1.4 liter turbo petrol has been dropped, and in its place there's a more powerful 160 horsepower 1.5 liter turbo petrol, which we've already seen in the Alcazar and even in something like the Seltos facelift. That should be quite fun to drive. Up next, there's the Tata Punch EV. This is a car that has been highly anticipated for quite a while. We've known they've been working on an EV version of the Punch for a while, but they finally released the first set of images and videos for the Punch EV, showing off the design and some of the technical aspects of it. They've even put up their website, which you can go and book the EV through, and as well as select dealerships that you can go to and put a deposit down, 21,000 rupees of deposit. But we don't have a set launch date on it yet. It is expected to come sometime towards the end of this month or maybe early Feb, but it's not very far away. Now, Tata has revealed a few things. As I said, the design, it has been updated. It looks more like the Nexon EV in terms of its design, because now there is a new LED light bar up top. The split headlights down below, they've got a squared off boxy shape again, sort of like the Nexon. And the bumpers have also been revised a little. They look a little cleaner than they did before. And the wheels have changed. They have this aero blade type of design. Now, the top end model getting things like a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which we've seen on something like the Nexon EV, and it'll also get a digital driver's instrument cluster, which will be a 7-inch unit. Apart from that, Tata has also announced that there's going to be a new EV modular platform that they're going to be using, their Gen 2 platform, which they're going to call the Acti.ev, probably a play on the word active. And this is going to be a much more space efficient platform. It's designed as a modular EV platform, so it can be increased in length. It's also going to be able to house motors in different places, front, rear, or both, and that makes it quite versatile. Now, it is also going to be the base for a bunch of upcoming Tata EVs in the future. From the announcement, they've also told us the rough range that this platform can provide is between 300 and 600 kilometers. And it's fair to assume that the punch is going to be on the lower end. Anywhere between 300 to 400 kilometers is what we can expect of official claimed range. And Tata has also confirmed that the Punch as standard, the Punch EV will come with 3.3 kilowatt AC charging. And if you want to step up to 7.2 kilowatt AC fast charging, you are going to have to get the long range battery pack. Yes, there are going to be two battery packs, a base model and a larger one, as we've seen again with the Nexon with its standard and max versions. Third on the list is the Nissan X-Trail, and this is a model that was previously sold in our market. It was discontinued back in 2014, and with the nameplate coming back to our market, it's going to be a decade's gap between that last model going out and the new one coming in. Now, the model's already on sale abroad, and we know a few things. It's got a new monocoque chassis, which is larger than the model we had in India before. We also know that it's got a few different powertrain options. One is going to be a 1.5 liter turbo petrol with mild hybrid technology, and the other one is a 1.5 liter e-power motor, which comes with strong hybrid technology, which will be far better for fuel efficiency, and that should be a big draw for people considering a model in this premium SUV space. Now, we also know the interiors have a nice smart layout. It's quite modern in its design. It's got a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, 12.3-inch infotainment screen with new UI, which is better than the current Nissan cars that we've seen. They have a slightly aftermarket looking UI on their displays. It also gets ADAS features and 360-degree cameras, those kind of things. The other big thing is that the X-Trail comes with a 5-seat and a 7-seat layout abroad, and we're likely to get the latter in our market. This also means that it will go up against the likes of the Jeep Meridian as well as the Skoda Kodiaq, because it is expected to be priced around the 35 to 40 lakh rupee mark ex showroom. Now, we do not have a set launch date on this car, but it is expected to come sometime early in this year 2024. So you can expect anytime from now to maybe March or early April. The fourth car on this list is going to be quite a niche one, because it's going to be targeted towards a very small group of very wealthy clients, and that is the Ferrari Purosangue. Yes, whatever your thoughts on Ferrari finally building an SUV after saying they would never do that, or its overall styling, or even its pricing, which is going to be very expensive. It's going to make something like the Lamborghini Urus look affordable, and the Urus is already a very expensive car. So all those things put together, it may not be a big draw for everyone, but that said, at the end of the day, this is still a SUV from Ferrari. Well, technically it's more of a crossover, because it's just essentially a raised hatchback, but it is a model from Ferrari that's going to allow you to drive it on our sorts of roads more freely, and it comes with a front mid-mounted V12 engine, 6.5 liter V12, and it makes 725 horsepower and 716 newton meters of torque. Those are massive figures. This will by far be one of the strongest performing super SUVs, as you would call it, in our market, and it's great to see it come. Also, quick note, performance figures are great. It's got a claimed 0 to 100 kph time of 3.3 seconds and an electronically limited top speed of 310 kilometers per hour. In terms of styling, we'll quickly talk about it. It is a crossover style look, and in my opinion, it mixes the looks of the current Ferrari Roma with something like the GTC4 Lusso, just stretched out and raised a little bit. We again don't have a set launch date for it, but it is expected in early 2024. So expect it to be here by April, maybe latest May. The next model on our list is probably one of the most anticipated off-roaders in our market. That is the 5-door version of the Thar. Now, Of course, what this is going to offer is essentially the practicality of an actually usable second row and an extra set of doors for easier entry. We've already seen the model being tested for many months now, and we know roughly what it's going to look like. The test mule suggests that there aren't going to be any changes up front or at the rear. It's going to carry over the same styling as the 3-door variant. Only thing is, on the side you'll have a visually longer wheelbase, which you can very easily tell because there's going to be an extra set of doors at the back as well. Think of it sort of like how Jeep handles the Wrangler with the 3-door and 5-door. Similar design philosophy here. Now, it is gonna come with the same set of engines as the 3-door Thar. That means that there is gonna be the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol, the M Stallion engine, as well as the 2.2-liter 4-cylinder turbo diesel M Hawk engine. Now, of course, it is gonna be a larger car as well as a heavier car. So Mahindra could very well tune these engines to make more power. We have seen them make, in the petrol's case, about 200 horsepower in the XUV 700, and in the diesel's case, about 185 horsepower. So you could see higher figures, maybe not to that level, but quite close. Again, we do not have a launch time frame for this, but this is expected to come to our market sometime in the middle of the year, so maybe June, July. Keep your eyes peeled for this one. Next up is the Tata Curve, and this is going to be a very interesting SUV. It's going to come in both electric and internal combustion engine or ICE versions, and it's quite an interesting car also because it takes a sort of design first approach to the making of this SUV, because it is an SUV coupe derived from the Nexon. It's also going to be a little longer, meaning that it will fill the gap between the Nexon and Harrier and compete in the mid-size SUV space. It's expected to be around 4.4 meters long. The design is a big part of it, and we've seen it already in concept form at the 2023 Auto Expo. And you can expect most of those design features to carry forward pretty much unchanged onto the production car, with minor tweaks here and there. Obviously, the wheels won't be as big and some of the curves and cuts won't be as pronounced, but more or less it will look as the concept did. The interiors are also going to feature a new design with a dual 10.25-inch screen on the dashboard, one for the center console, one for the driver, and a few other premium features to help distinguish it from the Nexon, as buyers are going to be stepping up in price to purchase this. The new EV version is going to use the recently announced Acti.EV platform that Tata is going to be using in a bunch of other cars, and we can also safely expect it to have a 400 to 500 kilometer claimed range, because the Nexon EV Max sits in that area, so it only makes sense that the Curve EV will also provide at least that much range. The internal combustion engine version will come with a 125 HP 1.2 liter turbo petrol, but I think they might want to reconsider that because mid-size SUVs have engines with a whole lot more power in them, so they might give that a rethink before its launch. There's no set launch time frame yet, but it is expected to come again in the middle of the year, so anywhere between June, August would be a safe bet to when the Curve will arrive. The seventh car on this list is the Mahindra XUV E8. And as you can tell, it is gonna be the all-electric version of the very popular XUV 700, which has been on sale in our market already for a while now, and waiting periods are still extending to over 2 years. So there's a lot of hype around that car, and so I believe will be true for the all-electric version as well. Now, this new XUV E8 is going to be using Mahindra's modular EV platform, which is called InGlow, and it is going to be borrowing or sourcing parts from Volkswagen Group's MEB electric platform, which is already tried and tested internationally, so that bodes really well for the parts that are coming in. They will be world class. A few things that we do know about the car already. When Mahindra made the announcement of the EV range, they showed us images of the car, so it looks pretty much unchanged to the XUV 700 in its profile. and dimensions also more or less. The only change is up front it's going to have a slightly more aerodynamically sound front end, which will be a little cleaner, and the rear will also get maybe a few tweaks here and there. Also, from the dimensions they gave us, it is going to be a little bit longer and wider than the XUV 700, but nothing major. It'll be just a couple of here and there. And we don't have the exact technical specifications for it, but Mahindra did say that it'll come with an 80 kilowatt hour battery pack, and it'll also get an all-wheel drive layout, which means a single motor and a dual motor layout. And they also gave us the two power breakups. The single motor will get a 230 HP output, while the dual motor will get 350 HP. This is also not got a set launch date, but it is expected to come to our market towards the end of this year. So you can think anywhere between October and December is when Mahindra will look to launch the XUV 700, the XUV E8. Next up on the list is the Tata Harrier EV, and much like the electric version of the XUV 700, this is also going to have a fair amount of hype around it. We saw the concept version at the 2023 Auto Expo, and that brought with it a bunch of design changes which we've already seen incorporated into the Harrier facelift. And I presume the few changes that we saw, which is the cleaner front end and rear end and the new wheels, they will make their way to the production version of the Harrier EV. Now, as I said before, the newly announced Acti.ev platform that Tata has told us so much about is also probably going to be the base of this Harrier EV, as it is a properly modular platform which can be extended and broadened depending on need. And again, it has various motor layouts. You can have a front motor, rear motor, or dual motor layout according to what Tata has told us, which is very interesting for us because this means that there's finally the chance that the Harrier is going to get an all-wheel drive layout with the dual motors. And that's something we've been waiting for ever since it was first launched back in 2019. So that's going to be a big plus for the Harrier EV. Now, in terms of range, we can expect it to sit on the higher end of what this platform is capable of, because the Harrier EV is going to be a fairly expensive car, one of the most expensive that Tata is going to be selling. So you can expect it to make anywhere between 500 to 600 km claimed range, which would make it a fairly compelling draw, because that is a very usable figure for most people, even for doing small out-of-town trips. The exact launch date is again not confirmed, but you can expect it to come around the similar time as the XUV E8, and that is right towards the end of the year. Maybe look at November, December for this one. We're getting close to the end of this list. The ninth one here is the Skoda Kodiaq, and this is going to be replacing the current model that is sold here. This is the second generation of the Kodiaq, which has already been unveiled in international markets, and it has a new platform which is a little longer than the current model, and that bodes really well for the Kodiaq, because one of its main constraints in its current form is the space you get in the third row and the boot. So this longer platform will allow the car to have more space on the inside. And from the figures that they've already announced, there is an improvement in third row space as well as the boot with all three rows up. So that should make it a much more appealing buy for a lot of customers. Design wise, there is a new design language that has been adopted for this, which is a little more angular, a little more upright than the current model, and because it is a little larger, the overall appearance of the Kodiaq is of a bigger, more premium car than the outgoing model. Now, the interiors have also been updated quite significantly, and they use the same design language as the new Superb does internationally, which is a very good thing. It's got an update that I think the Kodiaq has needed for a while, because honestly, the mid-size SUV segment's been getting so competitive with such nice interiors out there. It was starting to sort of make something as expensive and premium as the Kodiaq look a little quite dated actually. So the new model comes with things like a 13-inch freestanding touchscreen infotainment system, which is massive. It's quite large. Also got a very slick UI to it. It's got a 10-inch digital instrument cluster, which is going to be very customizable again. There's a head-up display, and there's a whole load of premium materials used around the cabin to make it feel that much more posh on the inside. Now, under the hood, there's a bunch of different engine options. There's a 2-liter turbo diesel that makes 150 horsepower in its two-wheel drive version and 193 horsepower in its four-wheel drive version. There's also a 1.5 liter mild hybrid petrol engine that makes about 150 horsepower, and there's also plug-in hybrid 1.5 liter petrol engine that makes about 204 HP. But the model that's likely to come to India is going to be the 2 liter TSI engine that makes now 204 HP. This is because the current model is sold with the 2 liter TSI, but that makes only 190 HP out here. Again, we don't have a very specific time frame for launch, but it is expected to come right towards the end of the year. So maybe consider November, December. The final spot on our list is being taken up by the Mercedes-Benz EQG, which is the all-electric version of the iconic G-Wagon. Now, the G-Wagon itself is known for its boxy styling, extremely capable off-road package and luxurious interiors, as well as the lofty price tag that it comes with. And one of my main concerns when the EQG was first announced is that they would make it look far softer than the internal combustion engine version of the G-Wagon, because EVs do prioritize their aerodynamically efficient design over just outright looks, for the most part that is. And I was concerned because Mercedes' current lineup, if you look at things like the S-Class as against the EQS has a far more flowing design that is very aerodynamically efficient, but in my opinion, the S-Class is the better looking car. But when they first showed the concept of the EQG and they retained all the boxy elements from the current G-Wagon, it definitely put my mind at ease. And then after that, we've seen videos of what the test mule has been doing in its off-road tests. And that's essentially just, it looks like a standard G-Wagon, just it's all electric. And this also means that it's got now proper battery pack under the floor. A few things that we know about the G-Wagon is the fact that it's gonna come with up to 4 electric motors, one on each wheels. And what this allows it to do is something quite cool. Mercedes calls it the G-turn, but we more commonly know it as a tank turn. And what this means is that the inside wheels of the car and the outside wheels of the car will spin in different directions and essentially allow the EQG to make a 360-degree turn on the spot. And that is quite a cool thing to witness. I'll try and put the video of the test mule doing that in here now. The other things that we know are quite limited. Its styling, of course, is going to be similar to what it is. The interior is also going to be similar to what they are right now, maybe with a few more techie touches on the inside, but not much will change in its packaging. Again, Mercedes is yet to tell us about its battery size, range, or even output figures. That we'll probably know closer to its launch. It'll first launch internationally, and then for India, it is expected to come right at the end of this year. So think December, maybe even late December. We're quite a ways off from this launch, but it is a very exciting car to see. Now, quickly before I end this video, I'm going to make a few special mentions. First up is the Ford Endeavour. Yes, there is a new Ford Endeavour that is going to be coming to our market. The latest gen's already been on sale in Australia as the Everest. And we get to know this because Ford has recently decided to return to India and continue its production process out here, as they decided against selling their second plant in Chennai, despite having plenty of really good offers out there. They've also gone as far as to submit patents for the design of the new Endeavour. We've seen that, and from these patents it looks like it's going to be pretty much identical to the international spec Everest, which is a very, very good thing. I think that's got a very butch and muscular styling. It's large, it's boxy, it's everything that we would want of an Endeavour. Now, another thing from this means that the D segment's finally going to have a proper rival to something like the Toyota Fortuner, which has dominated the space since the ND left. And it's not that it didn't dominate the space when the ND was there as well, but there was a proper second option to it. And that's been sort of missing for the last couple of years, ever since the ND left. So I think the new one's gonna have a very good shot because it's got a loyal fan following. Plus, it is a far newer car than the Fortuner, at least the current Fortuner, because that is fairly dated in terms of its platform, interiors, and all those things. So I think the ND will have a very good shot when it comes to actually being able to take the fight to the Fortuner. Second up on the list is going to be the Kia Carnival. Now I know this is technically not an SUV, and I'm only including it here because we have talked about a few 3-row models in this list, and as a 3-row people mover, there is probably going to be nothing better than this in the sub 50 lakh price point. The old Carnival I really liked because it had a very spacious cabin, and it felt very versatile and even a little rugged with its old diesel motor. It felt like it could really take a beating. This new Carnival has a much sleeker design. It looks sort of more SUV like up front, but it's unmistakably a van. Essentially, in its profile, you'll see it is prioritizing the passenger cell, and the interiors have also taken a big step up. They look far more premium and actually very posh on the inside. So I'm very keen to see what it is like when it's launched, how they price it, and the powertrain they decide to go with. That finishes out the list for me now, and yeah, do let me know in the comments which your most favorite or anticipated car from this list is, and if there's anything that I missed, do let me know that as well in the comment section below. Until next time, cheers.